welcome to the channel. If you're watching, you got a skylight leak. So let's get started. I'm up here on the roof. I'm inspecting what we have going on here. I want to go around the side of the skylight. I don't see any step flashing. Well, I actually do see it. It's underneath. So what we're going to do, first thing you want to do is inspect all around. We got this top flashing. What's this all about here? There's no flashing under this shingle. This should be laying flat. So this isn't even installed properly. This should be laid flat and it should ride underneath the shingle about 12 inches or so. 6 to 12 inches underneath. This could be our issue right here. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna get yourself a hand blower, blow all this out, clean it out. And we're gonna start prying these back. And we're gonna replace some of the shingles around this skylight. We're gonna check the flashing. And what I'm gonna do is install some ice and water shield around this skylight if it's not already in place. And we'll go from there. Yo, Sonny! It's always a good idea to keep a channel between your shingle and your flashing, at least 1/4 of an inch or so the water can flow down freely. Okay, now that your skylight is clear of debris, you're going to start prying away at the shingles because we're going to replace a lot of these broken ones, and then we're going to be able to inspect the roof, see what the plywood looks like, see if we have any nails rotted through. Again, we're going to move the shingles enough around the entire skylight so we can do ice and water shield all the way around. Then we're going to re-shingle, and if we need to, we'll re-flash. I got pieces of flashing. So you're basically going to want to come up to the side of your skylight. Always works safe if you're up on a roof, and use a pry bar. I got smaller ones, but use a pry bar to kind of get this up so you can inspect on what's going on. If it is cold out, be careful because the shingles aren't pliable and they'll break. All right. You just want to come around. You can see these are pretty much deteriorating on their own. So you just go nice and easy. You want to go underneath the bottom shingle, kind of pry up this nail, and you can see, and you'll be able to take it out. All right, see a lot of rust here, meaning the water is getting down through the shank. So we do have some water penetration in some of these nails. So we're definitely going to remove all the shingles around the skylight. All right, after prying at these for a while, you can see at the top of my flashing here, they didn't put any ice and water. So I'm definitely gonna wrap the top of that and follow all the way on the sides. The flashing is good. So I'll put the ice and water shield underneath the flashing, and then I'm gonna step each new shingle. And I'm on the process of doing this side and inspecting. When you have nails that are pretty much shiny like this, water hasn't gotten to them. You look at the shank, that's a clean one. But if you see some of these, they're starting to rust. That means water got through. This little hole here could be the main reason for the picture on the thumbnail. This tiny little hole. So let's open this up and see what it looks like. And we got a rusty nail here. Looks like an old shingle. and a nail that wasn't removed from the last job. But you want to make sure you get all these nails out. And we're going to blow all this out, make it clean. You want to inspect your flashing. I'm going to basically go about 1 foot to 2 feet on both sides. We're going to definitely flash, we're going to ice and water shield the top all the way across. And we'll see how that works out. I'm not going to pull the bottom out yet because in about 3 to 4 years, I'm going to replace the entire roof. And I'm only getting leaks up high. So I'm going to go from the side all the way up and around. And when I get down here, I'll inspect. If the bottoms need to be replaced, I'll definitely do the bottom. All right, so you just want to be careful. You can see all here. This nail doesn't look too bad, but when you pry it up, I mean, look at this. That's water, and you can see it's starting to rot. When you see nails like that, that means the water's getting in and it's leaking. So there's got to be a lot more leaks in that ceiling. If I were to take the sheetrock out, I'd probably see a ton of spots all over that plywood. But it's very important you put ice and water shield around every skylight. All right, and look it up here. I don't know what this is. Look at that. It's a nail left from the old roof. Lazy. And if you look here, more rust. So this whole area, and we start to get better here. So I'm going to stay in this area. These looking pretty good. We're just going to focus over on this side. Another one. Look at this. Definitely water getting in, and I could feel it. It's almost like mud. All right, let me continue taking all these off nice and easy. Inspect your flashing. Now, if the flashing has holes here, I would replace them. But my flashing's looking pretty good. They nailed them on the side there. And like I said, I'm gonna lift all my flashing up, put the weather underneath, the ice and water, then I'm gonna step my shingles the way they should be. Okay, now that I got all the shingles off and I inspected the flashing, it's good. You're gonna clean this all off. So get all this off. I did inspect the bottom. There's no rusted nails under those shingles, so we're gonna keep that bottom layer. And I'm just gonna shield up to the sides, do the sides first and then the top, so the water will run from the top onto the second layer. I wanted to point something out. With the ice and water shield, it comes in a roll and it's pretty heavy. So what I recommend is you measure what you need up here and you cut it in lengths on the floor, or on the ground, I'm sorry, and then you can bring it up and it's a lot easier. You want to overlap your top. Anytime you're seaming up ice and water, you want to overlap it at least 6 inches. You just want to come straight down. That's one. All right, now that I got it up on the roof, I got the weathered wood gaff timberline to match. We're gonna start putting this storm guard down. It's a barrier. Some of it comes, it's got the blue top. The other ice and water has a granule top. These are both the same. You could use these around skylights, chimneys, valleys, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our first piece. We're gonna bring it over to the side. We're gonna go under all the flashing. We're gonna make sure there's nothing underneath the flashing. We're basically gonna bring it underneath like this. As far up as we can. Preferably, we bend this up. We're gonna give this a little bit of a bend to get this adhesive on the sidewall. So you can give these a bend up. And then what we'll do is, when we get it in place, we're going to stick it and kind of bend it. And it's going to go above the nail line here for the next set of shingles. So if you have your nail line here, we're going to have to peel this shingle back, like I said, tuck this underneath, and then our next shingle will go right on top and cover this. All right, so what you want to do before you slide it up under these shingles, you want to cut a little notch here. So when we go across this top, it's going to go about 2 inches in and go over this way. So when it gives it some good corner block, okay? So remember, you want to notch it like this, straight down. We're going to slide it in underneath and under the shingles. All right, you can see I did one side. It's under the shingle. Under the shingles on top, and I'm finishing up this side. Then we're going to go across the top with a solid piece. Right, make sure you're touching up to the side, a little bit of a curve, even if it's an inch up the side. Then you got your flashing, more protection. Then we'll go across the top, and we're going to tuck them under about 3 shingles high. Whatever's left I'll cut out, because I want to have a little bit of an overhang on both sides, like ears. One side flopped on, the other side flopped down. You know what I mean? What you want to do is you want to take your top, you want to dry fit it again. You want to lift up this flashing if you can and let it fall in between. Okay, just like that. You want to kind of even it out on both sides. Now what I'd like to do is we're going to mark here where the side is. We're going to cut it about 10-12 inches on each side, and we're going to let this thing drop because I want to have a nice overhang. We're going to mark this. And we're going to cut it. We're going to cut it down, straight down. So let's do this. Doesn't have to be super perfect, just enough. We're going to dry fit it again. And again, if you had a second person, it'd be a lot easier. You can see how it's going past. So I'm going to peel this. We're going to stick this underneath like this. And we're good, just like this. It's very dry. I checked the wood. So you're going to put it in place. You're going to make sure your shingles have no nails so we can tuck this underneath. Then you're going to grab this corner. You're going to literally pull this out. And as you're lifting, see how you can pull it out, and then you just pop it back into place, all right? So let me just make sure the top is dry fitted right. Okay, now that I got it around the sides and the top, it's on here nice. You want to make sure it's flat. You don't want any bumps, because you'll see the bumps in the shingle from the ground. So push it down hard. Make sure it's nice and secure. And then we're going to open up the shingles and we're going to start shingling. If you're not familiar on how to shingle and nail placement, there are other videos on YouTube. I'm not going to bore you with re-shingling. When I get to do some of the flashing, I'll show you how you just step flash, but the rest, let me do this first. And when we get to the flashing, I'll show you what we got. And you're going to flip it around. You're going to line it up. Get this flashing up. All right, so your first flashing goes underneath, okay? Shingle goes on top like this, all right? Then what you're gonna do is you're going to take your second flashing, put it on top of that shingle, okay? Then you're gonna grab your next shingle, this on top of this flashing, and you're going to step your way up. You're going to make your shingle at the bottom even with the flashing there. Okay, and this one goes down, next shingle, and so on and so forth, all the way up to the top. What I like to do as added protection before I shingle the top is this flashing will go flush, obviously. The flashing will go flat on the roof. Then I'm going to tuck another piece of the ice and water underneath, and I'm going to cover the top of my flashing, so water, if it gets in, it will run down, and I'll have shingles on top of this. It's just added protection around the skylight. So like I said, put a piece of the ice and water across the top of your top flashing. All right, it's just added protection. We have it underneath, we have it on top, and of course we start from the bottom and work our way up so it runs off of each other, so there's no backup. All right, you want to keep about 1/4 of an inch space. Very important that water drain through those flashing, the step flashing. It's coming along. All I got to do is just finish the top, and don't forget to hit the nails back into the older shingles. You got to do sometimes when you're on old shingles to new shingles, you got to maneuver a little bit to line them up, especially if the last person didn't put them in straight. You want to stay away from nailing around that flashing. The flashing's around here. Okay, stay away from that. And if you have to, nail a few up high above the flashing, and then we'll put another course underneath. And remember, these older ones that you loosened up, you got to get under there and kind of throw some nails under the old ones, because the wind will come and blow these and break them. But yeah, this should hold me at least for a few years until I redo the roof. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, leave some comments below, and I'll definitely, if I can help you out, I will. I usually check and answer to all my comments. And I appreciate everyone taking the time to watch the video. And as always, subscribe. And we got some more videos coming out, some how-tos. And I hope this helped you if you have a skylight leak. All right, we'll catch you on the next one. So that's it. It's complete. Sonny, what do you want to do, son? It's getting late. We got to go inside, bro. Are you ready? Come on. Come on, Sonny.